fight in the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight in the beaches. We shall fight in the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
What's going on? I know the last video I put out got a little bit of hate, about the protests going on up in Canada with the trucker convoys and all this kind of stuff. And today, the government up there, House of Commons or Parliament, I think it was Parliament. Like I said, being in America, differences in political systems and all. Anyway, either way, it's like Congress or the Senate pushing something through down here. That Trudeau got the Emergency Act extended for an indefinite period of time. Gives him the ability to basically invoke martial law, is what it looks like, over these protests. So, long story short, or short story long, I'll give it, because it's going to go on for a few minutes. My last video I was sarcastically, jokingly suggesting, even though it wasn't a joke, I was just, you know what I mean, to leave the convoy, stop protesting outwardly, and go home. All truck drivers, because this is going to step into a new light now, I think, by invoking this emergency powers and stuff in Canada, that already protest happened, it was all peaceful, everything's cool, whatever. Government wasn't willing to come to the table and even discuss it. They just basically called everybody terrorists and everything, the kitchen sink of every woke term you could throw at, racist and this, that, whatever. And then you saw it trickle down into society through mainstream media and everything too, legacy media you call it or whatever nowadays. I try to keep up on this stuff, but I'm also out here working, so I don't have time to concentrate on all this stuff all the time. But now that this has been authorized for an indefinite period of time, the Emergency Powers Act that he has to arrest people, basically bring martial law on the country, what is the future for truck drivers now that the government basically tripled down? At first he wouldn't meet with you guys, then demonized you in government and society, and now with the Emergency Act and stuff, what's going to happen to truck drivers in Canada as time moves on? If society has also bought into the belief that you are a horrible faction of people in the country now, are you going to get rousted going down the street? You're going to get stuff thrown at your truck? Are you going to be assaulted by the citizenry of the country, not to mention cops, possibly military, and the government? You're going to freeze your bank accounts, you're going to be tracked, social media, cryptocurrencies, everything, they're shutting it down. It looks like they can do anything they want under this Emergency Act. And you being a truck driver now, even if you're a regular guy or girl out driving truck and you weren't a part of this protest, you just wanted to go to work and all this kind of stuff, but what's going to happen to you as well? Are you going to get rousted every time you're going down the road? You're going to get pulled over? Show me your papers. That's a very popular bad slogan. Show me your papers, right? We can harken back to old governmental forms, because you got to remember, even in 1932, a certain political party in Germany got elected by a free democratic election process. How'd that go? So what I'm suggesting, because there's even a thing, now that you're looking at this, you could be out in the street and rah and still pumping your fist, only to meet the military and the police and all this kind of stuff and have your money frozen and all this kind of stuff. Yes, freedom is worth dying for. under many circumstances. But there's also other ways to protest. There's also other ways to survive the fight because you did not comply still. And that's what I meant by going home. Take it for whatever you want. I've had comments on the last video, of course, that mind your business, you're not from here, so don't, just shut up and drive your truck. It could very easily happen here as well. And what do? Everybody on the street, all of a sudden, the military shows up, guns start firing, everybody starts getting killed. You're on the world stage, but ultimately, there's an interesting, if people don't work at fast food restaurants or something like that, well, you can go to the grocery store, get your food or whatever, but there's a very interesting dynamic with trucks. We live in a society that lives on trucking. If trucks stop, everything stops. People think of it, the UPS packages and Amazon wouldn't get delivered. No, it goes much deeper than that. That's why the Teamsters got broke up in so many ways back in the day, because when Jimmy Hoffa was running the Teamsters, he could snap his finger and shut down the whole country if somebody wasn't willing to work a deal. You know how that all went. And now roughly 20% of the country now is Teamsters or union truck drivers. It worked. They broke it up. Deregulations, all these kind of throwing people in jail, killing people, whatever. It worked. They weren't going to make sure that trucking could never be shut down, because they know if trucking gets shut down, everything stops. I actually have a meme or a snapshot of the thing that breaks down if trucks in America stopped, broke it down by week, and I'll put it up here so you can see it. That week 1, certain services start to dry up, gas stations get scarce of having gas, some shelves start to go bare, blah, blah, blah. Week 2, gas stations are all empty because trucks aren't moving. Who brings their gas? Gas tankers. Who brings food to the grocery stores? Trucks. Trucks bring everything. By week 2, week 3, medical supplies, hospitals, everything. By week 3, though, the power grid goes down. By week 4, the entire country's financial, economic, governmental, everything is absolutely broken. The country is in total disarray. Nothing is working. The power's out, the water ain't running, everything, because all the equipment, all the supplies that are needed to keep our infrastructure moving have to be delivered on a daily basis by trucks. If anybody, and I'm not suggesting this to hurt people, anything, but there's nothing saying everybody in Canada, there's roughly 350,000 truck drivers in Canada, give or take. That's the stats I heard. 350,000 truck drivers, plus American truck drivers that go up there too, however many a year or whatever. But Canadian truck drivers, if you're going to be considered to be these things that the government is actually calling you, and now it's trickling down into society, what is your future as a truck driver? Even if you didn't do anything in these protests and stuff, what's going to happen to you? I'd seriously be questioning that. And maybe it's time to just go home. All I got to do is, stay white and die. I don't have to be a truck driver. If I was in your shoes collectively as a group of 350,000 truck drivers, and you really want to make a stand, it can still be peaceful. Nobody has to die. Nobody has to get shot. Nobody has to get trampled. Just go home. Go home for a month. Like I said on the last video, take the month of March off. Everybody. Nobody says I have to be a truck driver, at least for now. I would think until the tune changes, just go home. Take a month off, maybe 2. Everybody, just go home. There's other ways to find protest. So that's my thought on it. It's just my opinion. Some people are like, no, you got to take up arms and whatever. Sometimes you don't. If you really think about it, just go home. You see how quick that phone starts ringing. Then you'd be curious to see if you stopped being a truck driver for a while and just went home. It could go both ways. He's like, oh, hold on, we misspoke. Come on back. You can still win without the physical protest. It's a silent, peaceful protest. Take a seat. Sometimes taking a seat can be better than standing up. So, if everybody just went home, took a month or two off, let the government sort it out. Yeah, it's not about like, oh, you're a wimp because you went home. No, actually very different. So anyway, 10 minutes of this. I would probably start hashtagging a movement or something if you want, but everybody needs to stop protesting. Don't be an evil terrorist Canadian truck driver. Sometimes nobody says I have to be a truck driver, so I don't want to be an evil terrorist truck driver, and I will just go home and stop being what you guys say I am, and I'll just go home and sit on the couch. Find a new job. Go get a job at Timmy's. You know, go get a, I don't know. Like I said, this is the serious side of my video today, though. You can find other ways to get this done by, nobody says you have to be a truck driver, at least for now. Just go home, sit on the couch, wait for the tune to change, because it will. I'll put that picture up of how dependent our societies are on trucking. And if everybody just stopped being a truck driver tomorrow, you watch what happens. But if the government's going to be against you as a truck driver, then maybe it's time to take a seat. Stand up by taking a seat. Hope this helps. Because if I were a truck driver in Canada right now, I think that's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, you know what? I'm out. Yeah, fighting for freedom is one thing. I get that. Getting out on the street, rah, rah. But sometimes you can have an even better fight by taking a seat. Just my opinion. Gandhi took a seat, although he got killed for it. Yeah. But anyway, that's just me. I would be finding alternative routes to victory at this point. You know what I mean? So, take it for what you want. I'm all about fighting the good fight, but sometimes the good fight can be taking a seat. So, anyway, that's it. I'm out. All right? Check back later.